Here we go. Hello, Lou. Pete, can you hear me? Hi. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Let's see. What am I doing wrong here? I've got my mute off. Hold on. Just gonna hit a button.
Okay, there you go, Donna. How you doing?
All right, perfect. Hello, Lou.
Hi.
My name is Donna Dunn.
Okay.
I'm with the Dunbarton Historical Awareness Committee, and we interview people. We do videos. We've got about a dozen of them actually up on the Dunbarton Town website. We call them Recollections of Dunbarton. This one is a little different. This is the first time we had a real videographer at the Stark Barn Dance this past Sunday. And we had a bunch of people, not a ton, but we probably had about, 20 people that used to dance there show up. And wow. Yeah, I know. And we did individual talks with some of them. And then the videographer panned through the whole audience while we showed a slideshow on a big projector. And Janice Boynton, who was the daughter-in-law of the Stark Barn Dance owners, was there. And when she used to go to the dances, she was newly married to one of the Boyntons, and well, I say newly married, about a year, and she had her son, and she put him on as an infant in a basket on the stage.
Wow.
But anyhow, we interviewed all these people, and the videographer is going to put it all together and do a video. And he told me that if I could get you, he would like to splice you in. So,
well, okay.
Yep, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. Just, first of all, I read the article in the church bulletin. You led quite the full life.
Yes, she's beautiful.
But I'm going to concentrate on just the Stark Barn dances.
Okay.
So one thing before, Donna, in looking at the pictures, we're not sure that was the building that my dad went to dances to. So,
well, there was only one Stark Barn dance. There was another huge barn near it, right? Within about 150 feet. But there were that was actually for animals, and that barn has since been moved to Florida.
My dad's recollection was that, and of course now this is in probably somewhere between 1935 and 1940, I would guess. It's when he was going to dances, and okay. I think those were in the town hall.
All right. Well, I want to record this too, because the Stark Barn dances were in the 1960s and 70s.
Right.
So what you did, you went back when we used to be able to use the upstairs, which we haven't been able to do in 30 years because the ceiling collapsed, but just now have a group raised enough money to build an addition onto the back of that building so that we can put in an elevator and get back up to the second floor again. But it hasn't been used in 30 years. And once upon a time, everything happened upstairs there.
Right.
And that's where that's where you want to pick
that's where I want it. That's where I want. Okay. All right. So how did you come to go to Dunbarton? I know you lived in Concord.
Yeah.
And how?
Well, it seems that back in those days, I was probably, I forget now exactly how old I was. I think I was probably, let's say between 19 and 21 maybe.
Mhm.
And I was running around with 2 or 3 guys, you know, and one of the fellows had a Ford Roadster. And this particular Saturday, we had been together and we talked about going to this dance. And so there were, I think, 5 of us in the Ford Roadster, 3 in the front seat and 2 in this Roadster had a back seat. And it was open, you know, the cover went down. Rumble seat. And we drove from Concord to this hall in Dunbarton upstairs. And we knew that I'd been talking with the nurses, and they were working in Concord and studying. And let's see. Oh, and 4 of them were going together, and their mother in their mother's car. And one of the girls wasn't too happy about being a nurse. And so she had in her mind that she might drop out. But her mother didn't want her to. And so the mother told her that you just stay back studying and I will take you anywhere you want to go. So this particular Saturday, she had taken the 4 nurses and her daughter to Dunbarton, and they were upstairs in the dance hall when the guys that I was with came in the Roadster, and of course we went up there too. And it was the first time that I'd been up in that hall, and of course, the first time I saw these girls too. And back in those days, they would dance, and the ladies, the girls were all, when the dance band started. No, the dance band was getting ready, and so there was a group of girls on one side of the hall and boys over on the other side. And when the band started playing, they all got together and we were selecting different girls dancing. So they played 3 dance songs and we all danced, and when the dance hall, when the band started playing and the people started mixing up, the girls that the girl that Stella, my wife, was with, they were standing there, and boys came over and asked them to dance and so forth. And Stella was there alone with her back towards me, and I was just standing near the doorway where we had arrived from. And I looked behind her, and I saw her standing there, and I said, wow, what a pair of legs on that girl. So I went over and asked her to dance, and she was so pleasant, and she laughed easily. In those days there, I was kind of mixed up and crazy anyway. And so we danced, and the first period of dancing stopped. Everybody separated. The band, the leader of the band, of course, addressed everyone, addressed the hall, told them what was going to be playing the next group. So, group of songs. So it started, and the girls that Stella was going with, her nurse friends, were all asked and selected. And so she was standing there again. So I went over and asked her again, and she was very happy to go with me. And so actually, after that, I danced with her the rest of the night. And every time the hall, the dance band stopped, most of the people went back together. But Stella and I stayed together. And so we just waited for the dance to start again. And so that was great. And so when it was over, I don't remember too much about it, but the fellows I was with decided we'd go back to Concord. So said goodbye to the girls, and we went back to Concord, and we were riding in the roadster, and of course we weren't driving very fast. I doubt if we were driving any faster than 30 miles an hour.
I don't think the Dunbarton roads were paved back then. I think they were still dirt.
Well, you're right. And we came to a side of...
Set it up. Tell her now that the number of people had changed going home.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an important part of this.
That's right. And going home, we picked up a couple other guys that were friendly with the friend that was driving his roadster. And so we got 3 in front, 2 in the roadster, and then 1 person on each fender.
So tell her where you were.
That's where I was. I was on one fender sitting there, and we were driving along the road. Everything was all right.
I'm surprised you weren't scraping the bottom.
Well, I tell you what happened then. We didn't go all the way to Concord. All at that point, when we were driving along, the car got just a little bit on the right-hand side of the road that we were driving on. And it was, we came to on the road, there was this big, like a big tunnel under the road where water flowed.
Culvert.
Yeah, a culvert.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And the front wheel of the roadster slipped a little bit. So the driver, he was trying to turn it to come out, but it was all small rocks and so forth. And we would just drop further down. So finally, we dropped to the bottom. And of course, the car got cracked up and so forth. And I don't know much about all of it, but I know that I was taken to the hospital in Concord, and I was in there, and I was there for a week. And back then, in those days, for eye problems and stuff like that, like today, I probably would have been there a couple hours and come back home. But I was there for a week, and so I got back home, and I remember Stella, and of course she was back to work, and she was a senior, and she was finishing her studies there, and she was in the operating room with 3 other nurses, where they had a leader and an assistant and then a third one. And then Stella was able to get in there, and she was learning how to work in an operating room and so forth. And then in that time, let's see, and in that time, the leader of the nurses, she moved out. So the ones ahead of her moved up. So she was just about through with school. And so she was the 4th one there. They hired another one that took her place. So they all kept moving up. So that happened, and I was thinking about her all the time. And finally I called and got a date, and I met her, and we went walking. And
I guess you did a lot of walking. I read about that in the article. Did you ever go back to the dance in Dunbarton?
No, we didn't.
You didn't?
We never went back to that dance.
Now, let me ask, at those dances, did they serve refreshments?
They might have, but I didn't know about it.
Okay.
They didn't appear to be selling anything upstairs where we were dancing.
You went in through the front door and up that beautiful curved staircase?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And the dance hall had a balcony upstairs. So
it did.
Yeah, over the dance floor. It was a pretty good dance hall.
Well, it looks completely different now because the tin ceiling, which was quite high, I understand, dropped about the time I moved here in '95, and they took it all down, and because of fire code, they had to put something up, so they put up a sheetrock ceiling, and I have never seen any evidence of a balcony. I know there was a stage. That doesn't mean there wasn't a balcony.
Right.
There was a stage that I suspect that's where your band played on the stage.
Right, right.
And the bathrooms were all the way down in the basement back then.
Yeah.
And because they used to have school was partially conducted. If there were too many students at the school across the street, they would send them over to that building for classes on the first floor. So if you went all the way down to the basement, and they're still there, they're just disconnected. They have, you know, the boys' bathroom, the girls' bathroom, and it looks just like, you know, I'm sure it's original. That building was built in trying to remember, I think it was like 1908. It replaced one that had burned the year before. So those bathrooms were 1908. Boy, you were there. Let's see, you were born in 1915. So you were there like around 1930s, right?
Could have been.
Yep. So the original bathrooms are still there, but they obviously they don't look nice. You know, they're, and at this point, there's a bathroom on the first. There's a couple bathrooms on the first.
Right. Well, in that dance hall at that time, that ceiling must have been pretty high because it was up over, the ceiling was higher above the belt. You know, you're going up to the balcony and it was all chairs up there.
Let me ask you there, when you go to the top up that staircase now, of course it's all walled off. It used to be entirely open.
Right.
Was at the far end, as you walked in, the far end would be the stage. Was the balcony at the end where you walked up the stairs?
I really don't recall. I probably used one of them, but I really don't recall the bathroom.
Okay, but back to the balcony. What side of the hall was the balcony on? Was it opposite the stage?
Yes, like when you came into the hall, you were under the bathroom. You were under the balcony.
We don't have, to the best of my knowledge, any photographs of that side of the dance hall. We do have old photographs of the stage, because there used to be graduations, we had town meetings up there. So I'm guessing to get up the balcony, the stairs were right there also. You'd walk up the stairs to get to the dance hall and under the balcony. Okay, I had no idea there was a balcony up there. I'm gonna have to talk to Bill Zeller because he's a youngster. He's only 83. But he grew up in
just a baby.
just a baby. He grew up in town and he did his school celebrations up there. And that was back when I got to find out about that balcony. I'm supposed to be the historian and I don't know about this.
Right. Well, that building too, downstairs was offices.
Town office.
For the town.
Yep.
It was kind of a big building.
Yeah, it was a big building. The library occupies that whole first floor right now. I'm trying to remember if that's where, I think that's where the original library was. I know it was, as a matter of fact, because when the town hall, before it burned, they lost most of their books, and people sent us books from all over New England to replenish the library. So a section of it was the library, a section of it was the town offices. And at that time, the town clerk, who was Dave, it'll come to me. He was across the street. He owned the little country store across the street. And he kept most of the town, he was the town clerk, and he kept most of the town records over there, which is the reason why we still have some, because when that building burned, they lost everything. I mean, the ladies' first aid had their dishes in there. There was a cook stove on the first floor that you used a quarter to start up and run. You used quarters to make it run. And this was all on the first floor because they would have potluck suppers there. You know, people would come in and cook. So the top floor was really just the dance hall and where the town meetings were. Yeah.
Well, so, I reminded now that big building was sort of like had a road that went around the back.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And as you went into that one upstairs, you could look across there. There was sort of a lodge on the other side.
Yes, the Maple Lodge.
And we used to go, and they served drinks and things over there. So we went over there and had some drinks. So
it was a beer hall.
Yeah.
It was a couple from New York or New Jersey, I forget. And it was a beer hall, and families used to go there. As a matter of fact, Arlene Little, is she 90 now? I think she might be 90 now. Her parents would take them there and say, okay, we need to support this local business. And I think that was just an excuse to go out for a beer.
Right.
And I have a picture of the woman, and her husband died before her. He's buried there, and I can't think of her name right now. Polly's not, it'll come to me. She ran it by herself. And as a matter of fact, the customers were everything back in those days, everybody trusted everybody. They'd knock and they'd come in, can we have a beer? And they'd say, help yourself from the chest and just leave the money. And that's how casual it was.
Yeah.
So did you go out during these dances and have a beer and then go back?
We might have, but back in those days, Stella didn't she wasn't against it about hard stuff or beer. She just didn't like it.
Yeah.
So she wasn't drinking that stuff. And so afterwards, when getting dates at the hospital, and we were walking, we were walking back and forth down in that area, and and we talk about everything, and certain things that we would be talking about, and she would say during a conversation, well, after we get married, we'll go
right down, huh?
Yeah, we'll do things like that. And finally, after walking and so forth, we got to a point where we decided that we would get married. She says, well, we'll get married. And
did you ever get back to Dunbarton?
No, we didn't.
Oh my gosh. You met there. That's when your romance started, and you never returned?
No, we never got back there.
Oh my God. By the way, it was Polly and Jerry Sampson that owned the beer parlor. I just looked it up. Margaret, Polly and Jerry Sampson.
Right. Well, Stella and I, we decided to get married, but we didn't have any money.
Yeah, I read that in there. But you both worked hard, and she worked overtime, and you got yourself a little nest egg.
Yeah,
and you got married at St. John's.
That's right.
There's a picture of you in your wedding attire, and there's a sign behind you. It says something in, INN.
Right. Well, that is, it's right on the main street, and you come out of the, if you've been in the theater, you come out and you go right, and the first street, it takes you, well, the first street on the opposite corner is this building that has that sign.
Was it Centennial Inn?
It's something like that.
Was it brick? Was it brick or wooden?
I would say, I can't remember, but I would say that it was brick. No,
Yeah, I
it
think
was,
it's,
no, I think it was wooden.
okay, all right. Well, I can see from the thing, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Pete, did you record this on your end?
Yes. And
Okay,
I'll send you the files.
Oh, you're wonderful. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Lou, I was thinking it was the Stark Dance Barn, but it's a wonderful story nonetheless. And I'm going to give this video to our town hall restoration people. And would you mind if we put it on the town website and broadcast it?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. This has been great. This has been really, really great. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I'll send you the files later on today.
You got it. Thanks so much, everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.